Hello everypony, I'm Calliope Pony, and I'd like to put in my 2 bits about the Cutie Mark Crusaders and what their marks will actually be. I'm going to look at 5 questions. What is each talent? What is each mark? When will they get their cutie marks? In what order will they get them? And how will they get them? To start off, what is each talent? Apple Bloom's talent is something to do with construction and design. We see that she knows best how to make sets and costumes for the talent show. She also fixes up the clubhouse on her own, and comes up with the idea of how to rig the float in One Bad Apple. This talent does not exclude her from the family business if she wants to be part of it. We see Big Mac doing repair work around the farm, as well as frequent barn raisings. Seriously, how many barns do they go through? Apple Bloom can build and maintain farm equipment and design advertising. Sweetie Belle's talent is singing. This is made clear on several occasions, but has not been gone into in depth. Scootaloo's talent is riding her scooter. Besides the obvious athletic skill she has with it, it is apparently her own personal substitute for flight, given how she powers it with her wings and uses it to sail through the air. In Flight to the Finish, her use of the scooter is a reaffirmation of her own self-worth. What is each mark? I'm not sure what a really effective mark for Apple Bloom would be. For now, I'm just going to say an actual apple blossom. Many ponies' marks are indicative of their names, and the flower could symbolize creativity blossoming. For Sweetie Belle, I think an actual bell. A musical item would perfectly represent her musical ability, and it provides a nice pun for her name, even though the spelling indicates her name actually means beauty. Scootaloo's mark will probably be her scooter, plain and simple. When will they get them? I used to think that they would wait until the end of the series to reveal the CMC's cutie marks. But now that Twilight's Ascension has shown the writer's willingness to move characters on to new levels of development, I am hopeful that they will get them sooner, and that the series will continue to show them grow into their new self-understanding. I am very hopeful that they will each get their own episode, instead of having them all get their marks at once. Also that they space out the episodes a bit, instead of having them one after another. It will open up a lot more opportunities for character building and development to see how they react. We know from the Cutie Pox that Scootaloo and Sweetie Belle were genuinely happy and supportive when they believed that Apple Bloom had gotten her mark. However, we didn't get a chance to see how it would have affected their friendship over time. Once the first excitement wore off, would they have gotten jealous or more frustrated than they had been before? How would they have identified themselves as a group? They became the Cutie Mark Crusaders to help each other towards their cutie marks. What happens when one has her mark and the others don't? Logically, it would make perfect sense for her to continue helping her friends. But would there be any feelings that she didn't belong anymore? We, the audience, know that their friendship is a bond that goes well beyond their crusading. But did they really register that fact? Once one of them has reached the goal, would she be worried that her identity as a member of the group has been sacrificed? In my mind, it would be too lazy and convenient for them to all get their marks at once. It would also detract from the core concept. A cutie mark is about your own individual identity, finding out who you really are and boring stuff like that. One of the reasons the Crusaders keep failing is because they are too caught up in group cohesion and aren't exploring their own skills. In what order will they get their marks? This one's a bit of a toss-up, but I think Sweetie Belle will get hers first. She is already aware of her talent as a singer. She also seems to have the best attitude. While she is self-conscious of being one of the last in their age group, she seems less bothered by peer pressure than the others. She also seems more open to the idea of quiet reflection than Apple Bloom and Scootaloo, who are more caught up in excitement. Since Apple Bloom is sort of the main CMC, in the same way that Twilight is the main 6 member, I suspect she'll get hers last. She will probably have the hardest time seeing her friends get their marks before her, which provides the greatest opportunity for writing a compelling story. And by default, that means Scootaloo will get her mark second. How will they get their marks? Sweetie Belle, I think, will have to really sing for others. She will either need to perform, something she didn't want to do in the showstoppers, or sing something really meaningful. Right now, she knows she's good at singing, and she enjoys it, but she doesn't seem to understand the depths of fulfillment or artistic expression that can come with it. She wants to be good at designing like Rarity. Rarity isn't just a dressmaker, she is an artist whose medium happens to be clothing. Maybe she can show her little sister that she too is an artist, and her medium just happens to be her voice. Honestly, I feel like Flight to the Finish would have been great as Scootaloo's Cutie Mark episode. Scootaloo hit her low point of self-doubt and vulnerability. She cast aside a false perception of herself and embraced her own skill and self-worth. She came to an understanding of how she defined herself and what that definition meant, both to herself and to the ponies closest to her. They even teased her looking at her flank at the end. I'm really not sure how they are going to move her forward from here. Apple Bloom is the one I feel least sure about, and honestly, I'm not really sure how her story is going to go. Assuming my guess about the order is correct, she's going to be feeling very upset and isolated at being the last of the last to earn her mark. I suspect that will somehow be a catalyst for her. I mentioned Scootaloo's doubt and misery in Flight to the Finish, and we saw in the Cutie Mark Chronicles that all of the main six, except for Rainbow Dash, was at an emotional low of unhappiness or self-doubt just before having an epiphany. In Apple Bloom's case, I can't really think up a good plot, but I think it's going to be very much an emotional journey. Of the three, she seems to be the most concerned over her lack of a cutie mark, and also seems to have the least understanding of herself. The other two already acknowledge their talents on some level. They just haven't come to a deeper understanding. Apple Bloom, despite demonstrating her talent, doesn't even seem to be aware of it yet. So those are my thoughts on the CMC. This is the first time I've tried making one of these videos, so if you like it or if you have any feedback, please let me know in the comments. See you around!